What is up, guys? Long time no see. Today we're going to be doing something that I do every once in a while because I think it's important and it's something that helps me a lot and it's something that can most likely help whoever's watching, at least someone. What that is we're going to be reviewing a few of the books I've read over the last, I'd say about 6 months. I think the last video I did on this was quite a while ago. I've read quite a few since then, and today I'm gonna be picking the top 5 with a few honorable mentions. I'm sure you can pick one out of all the ones I could show you that will be a good read for you. Don't wanna waste any of your time, so let's get into it. To kick things off, we're gonna start with one of the best books I've read recently. This was within the last month. And that book is called The Rational Optimist. This book basically covers how a lot of times we think the world is getting worse. However, in reality, if you think about it, everything's getting better. Quality of life has actually went up over the years. It's not like back then where many people would die from just sicknesses that we can heal very easily. It basically goes over all the things that have gotten better over time and how there's very little that has gotten worse over time. In fact, we've kind of just created problems out of nothing because we've ran out of problems to create. Next up, we have The 12-Week Year. This book is very easy to apply. This is one of the books I use to actually create the schedule I use now. Whatever your goal is, whatever you're trying to work towards, it shows you how to split that up over 12 weeks so that instead of getting to your goal within a year, you can get to it within 12 weeks. Quite the time cut, so definitely a recommended read because it will save you a lot of time in getting to your goals pretty much 4 times as fast. Here we got The One Thing. The One Thing kind of goes hand in hand with that book. In fact, I recommend you read both of them within a couple weeks of each other because The One Thing is going to be the thing that you focus on for your 12-week year. The One Thing basically shows you how to take whatever your goal is and narrow it down to just that one thing that drives the results for it. A lot of times in our goals, there's maybe 1 to 5 things you do to reach that goal, and there's only going to be one of those things that actually gets you there and does most of the results. Think about the 80-20 rule. 80% of your results come from 20% of your actions. So for example, running is one of the things I do. The biggest way to get results in running is to actually go run. Now you can include like stretching, eating, and lifting. However, if you really lack in the running part, you're never going to get better at running, even if you do all the other things correctly. I hope that kind of makes sense, and of course that applies to any goal you have. And that is all what the book, The One Thing, focuses on and how you can apply it to the 12-week year. Definitely a killer combo. These next 5 books I'm going to review, they're not necessarily for everyone. These books are going to be ones that you're going to want to pick and choose. The first one is Ogilvy, or however you say his name, Ogilvy on advertising. This guy is one of the best advertisers pretty much to ever live. Even though the book was written in 1983, a lot of the knowledge in this book still applies, which is kind of crazy. But definitely if you're into advertising or want to learn how to do some type of advertising, this book is a great read. We have Running with the Buffaloes. This book is great if you're into running. Coach Wetmore and the Colorado Buffaloes or the University of Colorado's cross-country team. Probably not a good read if you don't run because the entire book is based on running. Next up, we have a sales-related book. This book was written by Jordan Belfort. I'm sure everyone watching knows the movie The Wolf of Wall Street. This is the real guy. So as you could imagine, he's extremely good at selling, and he's teaching that technique that he uses to sell within this book. If you're into sales, this is a book for you. If you're not, probably wouldn't read this book. This book is called The Short History of Nearly Everything. Overall, this was just a very interesting book. I don't completely agree with everything the guy says in here. However, the book was extremely interesting, and it kind of just goes into topics that you would never think of, but you end up thinking about because he mentions them in this book. Puts crazy things into perspective. After I read this book, I learned there's probably like 200,000 organisms living within my pillow. That's one of the eye-opening things you'll probably learn in this book, whether you wanted to learn it or not. Salt, sugar, fat. I found this mostly interesting. I have to say it didn't really change what I eat exactly. It goes over how like the fast food restaurants like McDonald's, Popeyes, and Burger King and all that hooked you, and how they stay in business and how a lot of them are actually owned by cigarette companies. We've now moved on to my last 2 books on the list. We went over the honorary mentions and we went over a couple of the ones that I recommend so far. These last 2 books are probably some of the better ones I've read, especially the very last one, so definitely stay tuned for that one. When I stop talking, you'll know I'm dead. The story's pretty amazing. I actually didn't even know who this guy was, Jerry Weintraub, before I read the book. Some of you might, some of you may not. Regardless, this guy came from the Bronx of New York and somehow worked his way all the way up into the top of the entertainment history. He was a manager of singers like Elvis. It's how he went from the bottom all the way to the very top of the rich and famous. Overall, just a cool story and pretty inspiring. The final book on the list, if you're gonna read any of these books, this is the book to read. An extremely good book, and I won't keep you waiting. It's called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Highly recommend. Like I said, if you read any of these books, this is the book to read. This book is really hard to explain. I definitely recommend you just read it. It's actually not that long of a book. As it says, it's a counterintuitive approach to living a good life. That was the final book on the list. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I know it's been a while since I've done a book video. I know some people don't like them. I know some people really do like them. They usually don't get a lot of views. I like doing them, so I did one. If you haven't left a like or subscribed yet, definitely do so. I'm not gonna force you, but do what you wish. And I hope to see you in my next video. As always, thank you for watching. I'll see you later.